Welcome to Transition Tips. We are so excited to be here today to talk to you about how students can enhance their independent living skills at home. I'm Judy Averill, and my colleague, Kelly Ligon.
Hi.
We are with VCU Center on Transition Innovations. You know, the desire to be independent and self-sufficient is really a natural part of growing up for students with and without disabilities, but we know that disability can impact independence. That's why instruction and real-life application of independent living skills is a critical component to helping students get ready for life after high school. Developing these essential skills should start at an early age, but then be reinforced in different environments, not just school, but also home and the community.
So today we're going to provide you with a few tips and suggestions on practical ways students can enhance independent learning skills. We will have a document with these tips available at the end of this section. So last week we talked about financial literacy. So today we want to start off with a few activities students can practice at home to increase their financial skills.
You know, Kelly, a good way to increase financial literacy is to practice budgeting at home, which is our first tip. Now, budgeting assists students in understanding the concept of, well, the difficult concept of not spending more money than what you have, which is difficult even for adults, but it's an important step in becoming responsible for your own finances. A relevant and engaging activity to assist in understanding the concept of budgeting is to have students create a simple spending plan for meals. Provide them with an amount of money that they have and allow them the opportunity to plan out a meal or meals. They could check out prices online, their favorite grocery store. They can even look through ads in the paper or go to the store and then assist them with assessing, did they overspend or underspend? There are a lot of different activities that students can do in school and at home, and there are a lot of really effective practices. So if you have any tips that you'd like to share, we really would love to hear from you. So just add them to our comment section.
So real life experiences are great. Another great way to do that is our second tip, and is to have students open a bank account. Some high schools in Virginia actually have a bank on campus, which is extremely helpful for educators in guiding students through this process. This will assist students to better understand the impact of budgeting and managing money. Many banks require a parent or a guardian to be a co-owner on the account if the student is a minor. So again, an opportunity for families to support students in learning more about money. And if you guys have any tips about banking, things you've done in maybe the personal finance class you've taught, can you put them in the comments? That would be great to share. So banks typically these days issue an ATM or a debit card, and teaching students that yes, that does look like a credit card, but it doesn't have an unlimited supply of money. We used to joke years ago when it was just cash or check. Hey, I still have checks in my my checkbook, so that must mean I have money. Well, we learned that wasn't the case, right? So remind students to keep track of their bank balance by reviewing their account online on a weekly basis to prevent overspending and those overdraft charges.
You know, I was really hesitant when my oldest daughter came to me and wanted to get a debit card and open a bank account at age 15. I personally thought she was too young, and then I had to take a step back and realize, no, this is the perfect time because she was going to graduate in 2 years, and I could oversee her skills and knowledge and coach her with the banking situation. And it was a really good decision because what I found was that real life application really increased her desire, one, to do it on her own, and it increased her confidence and skills. So by the time she did graduate, she really did have those skills that I knew that she was going to be okay. Even though she still asked me questions once in a blue moon, but it's a great opportunity for students. Our third transition tip is also really working with students to begin managing their own health care. Students, you know, hopefully when they're younger, they start looking at those understanding basic first aid care. You know, if they cut their finger or have I don't know, if they skin their knee. But we really want to increase those skills as they become teenagers and young adults. And it's really the way to assist them is to help them to understand their medical information. Do they have allergies, seizures, or attention issues? And what is the impact of that? Do they take medication? Do they understand the importance of being on a schedule? Are they starting to manage their medication with support? But these are the skills that we really want them to start doing prior to exiting school, under the watchful eye, obviously, of families. But, once they can start managing their medical healthcare with support, that really can increase their skills in self-determination and self-advocacy, because it increases their knowledge of who they are. And I do want to say they could really want to take it a little further and have them start making doctor's appointments as well. You could write a script for them or assist them and practice with them, but have them start managing the doctor's appointments as well as filling prescriptions. These are all great skills to have.
Great. And then part of being healthy is eating well. So our fourth tip is having students prepare a meal once a week. Start with recipes that are simple and healthy. And there are many 3-ingredient dishes that are healthy and taste good too. And of course, we all love Pinterest for trying out some of those recipes that are on there that always look so good. Sometimes they don't always taste so good. But sometimes also learning to bake breads or desserts are sometimes the first steps towards gaining confidence and skills in the kitchen. And baking is always a fun thing to do together as a family. Does anybody have their students helping out in the kitchen? Any contribution students can make at mealtime is always appreciated, right?
Absolutely. I mean, sometimes the outcome of their attempts might not be good, but practice, practice, practice. I'm an adult. My cooking doesn't turn out so well, but allow the opportunity. Tip number 5 is something I think we can all relate to right now during this crisis. Is really we want students to start managing their time. And since students probably have some time on their hands, unstructured time, this is a great opportunity to look at how they do and use their time. You're completing tasks on time, following a schedule, estimating time is a challenge for everyone, but especially students with disabilities. So one of the best ways to practice time management is to have students really create a routine at home. I know that, we have a routine at school, but now students might not necessarily have a routine at home, but it really will assist them in increasing their responsibility and monitoring their use of time. These are all skills that are extremely beneficial, especially if they're going to transition to work or transition to post-secondary education. So set a schedule where they are responsible for getting themselves up and completing chores and responsibilities on their own, and this will assist them in really completing what they need to do within a day.
And I always like those online calendars. You can share calendars with other people so that, the parent can support the student in managing their calendar, and without being too intrusive, you can see what needs to happen and help your student in getting to where they need to go on time. So lots of technology supports available now, which is great. And talking about routines and time management, let's talk about our 6th tip, and that's doing laundry. For some of us, it's a dreaded but necessary routine, right? But wearing clean clothes to school and to work is an essential part of establishing a good impression. Families might consider having each person in the household be responsible for doing their own laundry. You can help your student develop the habit of doing their laundry weekly and set a routine for sorting, washing, drying, and putting clothes away afterwards. My kids always had a hard time with that, putting clothes away. Clothes would be on the floor and you couldn't tell what was clean and what was dirty. But supporting your student through that process, helping them do whatever part of that laundry routine they can is a great step towards independence. You could also provide visual supports and in doing these steps in the laundry area. That's always helpful. And it also prevents all those clothes from getting ruined.
You brought up a good point, Kelly, when you say visual supports. I think having pictures, having step-by-step directions, having task lists can really assist students with all of the skills that we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
I know that when I was teaching my children how to do laundry, I did have those visual pictures above the washing machine because it's a lot of steps.
It is.
And it really greatly assisted them in increasing their independence. Our 7th tip for enhancing independent living skills at home is maintaining good hygiene. Taking care of one's body is something I think the majority of teenagers, young adults struggle with. And I think they do that because, that responsibility when they're younger is usually from the parent. They're making sure, children are clean. And then as the children grow up, they want to take on that responsibility, autonomy, because they don't want their family member watching over them. But sometimes they need assistance. And because poor hygiene can impact relationships. It can impact work performance. So I think now is a good time to, one, if a teenager is not taking care of their hygiene, that they still require supports, let's look at fading out some of those supports. 2, if they are taking care of their own hygiene, but maybe they need to work on a particular area, maybe not, but have them assess their skills so they know what those areas are, and then set goals for increasing their independence or increasing their hygiene skills. Because again, we're talking about transition to the world of work and college. We really want to make sure that they are taking care of themselves because it could impact health.
So part of gaining that independence for their next step is learning to travel safely. Students want to be able to go see their friends, go to the movies, and eventually get to work. So our next tip is helping students to enhance their transportation skills, like reading a map, understanding directions, understanding the time it takes to travel somewhere. Transportation can be a challenge, but exploring resources in the community and using tools can help. So work together to identify things like what options do you have in your community? Public transportation, ride-sharing companies like Uber or Lyft, accessible transportation options like and the costs and how to qualify. These are great skills to practice at home by using tools like a GPS device, phone apps, online mapping tools, or a good old-fashioned map. But knowing how to get to where you want to go is a big step toward gaining independence.
It really is, and if a teenager or a young adult doesn't drive, I think it's also still important for them to know where they're going and to map it out for safety reasons. But Kelly, it's amazing that the time has passed very quickly. I think it's time that we wrap this up. We could talk for 30 minutes if we wanted to, but there's so many areas in independent living that we could discuss, but our time is almost up.
Yep. And so all of these tips that we've shared with you today can help students gain the skills they need to live as independently as possible, whether at home or outside of the home. And those of you listening today can encourage and assist students to develop and practice these skills at home, at school, and in the community. So a document titled Tips for Enhancing Independent Living Skills at Home will be posted on our Facebook page as well as our website. Thanks for joining us today. And next Thursday at 2 o'clock, we'll host another Facebook Live session called An Employer Perspective on Essential Career-Related Skills. Please like us on Facebook, and for additional transition information and resources, Transition Innovations website. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.